Let's now talk with Gordon Phillips. He's an attorney, represents a girl that we'll call Daisy I. Mark Berndt was her teacher last year when she was in the third grade at Miramonte. Let's get Gordon on here. Gordon, thanks for coming on with us.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Daisy, what was her experience with Mark Berndt?
Sort of falling in line with what we're hearing the typical protocol was. The blindfolded, the cookie with the milky white substance on top that progressed to being served the blue spoon that was filled with the milky white substance.
So it was like the taste testing.
Yep, same game.
Now, did they talk to her parents last year? When was the first time they became aware she was probably in these photos? Or
well, that's what's got the family, especially the father, particularly upset. It turns out that their daughter was interrogated over a year ago, and the family just found out about it this last Monday night in an evening phone call from an unidentified detective.
Interrogated? You mean by police? They talked to their daughter and they didn't tell the parents?
That's correct.
Oh.
That's what the family understands. And then a year went by, and then the father gets a very brief phone call from a blocked number, so he can't really figure out who it is. He can't call anybody back once he regains his composure. And he's just, they drop the bombshell on him about what's happened to his daughter and say, we'll get back to you sometime in the future.
Was the girl told not to tell her parents about the police questioning?
I've asked her about that, and she doesn't. She's kind of hazy and hesitant about it. But the point is that the parents weren't even advised that the child was going to be interrogated. They weren't given an opportunity to be there. They didn't get to find out if there would be a child counselor there.
And it's a year that girl, after possibly ingesting the semen, needs to be tested.
Yeah, her father was furious. He just wants to see an infectious disease expert and have her blood work done immediately because they're terrified.
Oh, this is horrible. I don't understand the police's role in this. Why wouldn't they tell the parents, have the parents there, and tell the parents to go get the testing?
Everybody's as equally confused about that. The proffered explanation now is they didn't want to put at risk or interfere with an investigation seems to be the line that's coming out.
Yeah, they're telling us that they didn't actually have a felony until they could prove that it was his semen on the cooking and on the spoon, and that took time.
Yeah, but privately you've got to tell the parents of the kids you're interviewing that you better go get her tested just in case. I mean, there's no excuse for that. That doesn't compromise the investigation.
No. Plus, independent of the infectious disease risk, early psychological intervention is what really helps mitigate this damage as compared to a child living with it for over a year. So they kind of precluded the family from being able to mobilize on that front as well.
There seems to be a complete lack of respect and decency by the police and everybody at the school towards the parents here. I mean, they really treated them like just garbage, like they're irrelevant.
Now, was Daisy a part of the after-school program or just in Berndt's class?
Both, but after-school program is where a lot of these games are.
Yeah, and we understand that he would sometimes ask for the girls by name in the after-school program. He'd send a note requesting certain girls.
Yeah, and that's all part of the notice that everybody misses or this grooming process that goes on that should have alerted anybody to something's going on here.
This is such an overwhelming story. Sometimes I just don't know where to begin because I can't believe once the police and the school was aware that students are being fed semen, that the parents were called in immediately. I find that impossible to believe.
Yeah.
I mean, the moral rot.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. People are just dismayed. The family just feels betrayed. There's just anger, hostility, confusion, fear. It's unbelievable.
And have the parents seen the photos of Daisy?
Yes, they've seen some photos. It's sort of I don't know if it's a cruel trick or what, but the defendant would send kids home with the photographs. The school district in 2008, 3 years ago, had a father come forward and say to them, why is my daughter coming home with this photograph, and why is she eating this cookie with this shiny light-colored substance on the top of it? And he went to the principal at Miramonte and confronted him, and the principal rebuffed him, and then the father pulls the daughter out of school for a week. She goes back to school a week later, and she's transferred into another class. So the principal saw enough there to relocate the child, but never followed up on it.
This is Martin Sandoval.
Yeah, that's 3 years ago.
So what explains the willingness of all the other adults at the school to put up with this? I mean, this is alien. I honest to God don't understand this behavior at all.
I know, that's the ultimate mystery and confusion. There's this culture there that just is in denial. You know, I did another one of these cases a few years ago, with that gentleman named Rooney that was involved. And when that case resolved, we went to LAUSD and said, we have experts from the United States and Canada that are willing to come and do this for free and train your staff and administrators on how to break this culture and how to get a new culture going here. And we were respectfully declined. They just don't, I mean, they say the right things about what they want their policy to be, but the actions just never comply.
So when is it that your client's parents first learned about her being in these photographs? When the story broke last week?
Last Monday, January 12th, the dad picked up a phone call at night when he was at home.
Because we were led to believe that the only people that knew were the families of the students involved in the photos, but they were told to be quiet for a year. But maybe they couldn't identify Daisy for a while, or what?
Well, they were able to identify her enough over a year ago.
To talk to her, yeah.
And they were able to identify their father's phone number last Monday night.
So apparently, even some of the parents, at least, weren't even notified.
Not until the arrest.
And their kids were part of this whole sickening experience.
Yep, that's exactly right. This family didn't have any knowledge of it, according to the mom and dad.
All right, so what are they going to be looking for by hiring you?
Well, number one, we're going to try to get to the bottom of what went on in terms of what happened with the prior complaints 20 years ago, 18 years ago, 3 years ago, and find out why nothing was done before then. And then obviously they're going to be asked to pay for, medical monitoring, infectious disease physician care, psychological care, things of that nature. Because the studies are legion now about the trouble these people have in the future with their lives.
All right. Thanks for talking to us, Gordon. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Thanks for bringing it to light.
All right. Gordon Phillips. He represents one of the little girls involved in the Miramonte Elementary School scandal. Of course, this was a student of Mark Berndt by the name of Daisy. What we haven't heard yet, and we're going to hear, both of these guys, Berndt and Springer, will eventually have attorneys who will talk to the media. What spin are they going to put on this? You don't know that was semen on the cookie. We're going to say it wasn't. Cross-contamination in the testing. I don't know.
Yeah, the usual garbage. But the thing is, in the real world, we know what's going on here. And we know just how corrupt now, how just morally corrupt too many people in the L.A. Unified School District are. Union leaders. I mean, it all goes back to union leaders and school board members agreeing that nobody will ever be fired, ever.